Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mobile VR Reviews. I'm your host, Guy Manspeed, and today I'll be reviewing Spacer Stalker on the GearVR. It's a space rail shooter with puzzle elements, but is it worth your time and money? Spacer Stalker was released on the GearVR on October 5th, 2016, and is available for $6.99. It's developed and published by Fibram, a Russian company which also makes Android and iOS apps, and makes their own mobile VR headset that looks like a premium Google Cardboard. Not only that, but Fibram is actually creating a complete mobile VR ecosystem including an app store and developer support. In Spacer Stalker, you're a space stalker. The gameplay has you seeking high-tech artifacts through 16 stages of space ruins and wreckage, plus an additional final stage. Each of the stages is divided into 3 sections. The first section has you infiltrating the area. You move forward, dodging or shooting down traps, and you're confined to a corridor by a blue force field. The second section is the puzzle. You reach the vault at the end of the corridor and have to solve a complete the circuit type puzzle on a time limit. The final section of each stage is the escape. You fly back down the same corridor on autopilot, looking backwards and shooting enemies that pursue you. It's an interesting and surprisingly enjoyable mix of shooter and puzzle genres, and if you're not into the puzzles, you can skip them for a penalty. You have one weapon with infinite ammo in the first section to shoot down traps, but on the way out, after you switch to the rear turret, you get access to 3 different weapons. The infinite ammo Gatling cannon that must be reloaded, the lock-on rocket launcher, and the plasma cannon that kills everything on screen. The last 2 weapons use spare parts as ammo, which adds a bit of strategy since these spare parts are also used to repair your shields. At the conclusion of a stage, you're given the chance to upgrade your ship and equip artifacts with different support functions. You get between 1 to 3 upgrade points for completing a stage depending on your performance, and you can use these to upgrade your shield size, repairability, puzzle solving time, ammo costs, and more. Some of these make a substantial difference in gameplay, and some don't. Either they're not fully implemented, or the effect is extremely subtle. It's worth it to replay levels after you've upgraded your ship to squeeze out more upgrade points, but good luck getting all 3 from a level, as the bar is set pretty high. The 16 stages are well made, they're fun and challenging, and the promise of upgrades motivates you to continue. But there are 2 issues I have with the game. First is that the game sends notifications if you haven't played in 24 hours, which is quite annoying and makes me want to uninstall it. The second is the final stage. If you don't defeat the final boss fast enough, it flies away and you're left hanging in space, unable to quit or die, and must exit to Oculus Home using the back button. This happened to me several times because it's not immediately obvious that your shots are causing damage. It seems like something that could have easily been caught in playtesting, and I'd love to see an update to patch this, but at the time of this video, this is how the game is. If you can look past the error in the final stage and the notifications don't bother you, there's actually a lot to like about this game. Just look at the graphics. The graphics are actually quite beautiful, and animations are smooth. The models and textures are detailed, and the look is consistent across the game, both in your ship and in the hangar. Both the infiltration and tail gunner cockpits have a lot of detail with functional instrumentation. Your avatar is a highly detailed and animated female model. Sitting in the hangar, she fidgets in her chair, stretches her wrists, and crosses her legs. In the cockpit, her hands actually move the flight stick in sync with your movements. The enemy models have collision detection applied, meaning they can smash into asteroids and debris instead of just flying through them. This cannot be said for the final boss, however, as asteroids just pass right through it. The graphics aren't perfect, though. There are very occasional clipping issues, and the skybox is a little too close to completely convince you that you're in space. And considering the detail that went into your pilot avatar, something that you won't be looking at 99% of the time, I find it strange that the rendering of hyperspace is so bland and ugly. You spend 10 to 15 seconds before each mission getting briefed while staring at this purple-gray blur. I do, however, want to specifically mention the camera. The developer actually went through the trouble of adding offset to the player's eyes from the point of tilting at the neck. This means that when you tilt your head left or right, your virtual eyes actually move to the left and right instead of just twisting in the center of the cockpit. This adds a lot to the immersion, with Omega Agent being the only other game I can recall that's done this correctly, and it's a nice detail. The controls are completely functional. You fly and aim by looking, tap the GearVR touchpad to fire, swipe up and down to reload, and forward and back to change weapons. I always prefer using a gamepad even when touchpad controls are basic, simply for reasons of comfort. However, this game does not support a gamepad at all. Your only control option is the touchpad. Honestly, it's not a deal breaker, and the touchpad works well, but the option would have been nice. I do have one issue with the user interface, however, and that is that there's no pause menu. You can't exit in the middle of a stage and go back to the hangar. Pressing the back button lets you quit to Oculus Home, but if I just want to go back and respec my upgrades or choose another level, I have to die. I think they've done a good job on the sound design. The stage music changes as you transition from infiltration to puzzle to escape sections, and is appropriately energetic in each. The voice acting is well done. Exposition is delivered by your employer giving you a short briefing before each stage, even if it's not particularly helpful since each stage is get in, break in, and get out. There's also an enemy voice that says essentially the same thing after you solve each puzzle. He says a stalker has been spotted and releases the attack drones. Again, no special information, but the acting is solid. As are the sound effects. Lock-on sounds are helpful, and rockets and plasma cannons boom and pew nicely respectively. The Gatling gun sounds as expected, but the sound seems to be slightly out of sync with the shots. Again, this is a minor issue, and the sound is quite good overall. And the game is very comfortable. You're either moving slowly forward, slowly backward, or remaining motionless while solving a puzzle, none of which will make you motion sick. The head tilt offset I mentioned earlier adds to the comfort by not having unreal shifts happen in the scene when you tilt your head. In fact, I'd say the game is completely comfortable, with one exception. When you transition to the tail gunner cockpit after solving the stage's puzzle, there's a beautiful animation sequence where you actually slide back and flip through your ship. It's very cool, but unfortunately you'll feel it in your stomach if you're at all sensitive to motion sickness. Luckily, it only lasts a second, and then you're back to blasting things in comfort. I guess the game is about as immersive as a rail shooter on GearVR can get. The detailed cockpit and camera control really add to it, and you get a better sense of presence than Eve Gunjack. But it's still a rail shooter, and the lack of freedom, that is to exactly control where you go, ultimately limits the immersion factor. Overall, the game is quite well done. I'm usually not a fan of rail shooters, but I had a lot of fun with this one. There are a few minor issues and peculiarities with the graphics and controls, but again, none of the minor issues are deal breakers. The gameplay is challenging and addictive, the graphics are detailed, and the upgrade system is well thought out. The final stage could have used a little more playtesting, and the notifications are a little annoying. But if you can get past those issues, what you have here is a novel and fun rail shooter for the GearVR that's worth the asking price. Thanks for watching. Did you agree with my review of Spacer Stalker? Was I unfair or did I miss something? Did this review change your mind about buying the game? Leave a comment to let me know what you think. And if you like what you saw and you want to see more of this, hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you have a specific request for a review, write that in the comments too. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.